Game devs and studios, stop making your bullet metal impact sparks look like this. Ugh. And this. Oh my god, it's horrible! Let me show you how it's really done.
Now keep in mind, I'm demonstrating this in Unity, but every game engine you use is going to have a particle editor, all with similar functions and parameters. And if you know how to use those editors pretty well, you shouldn't have too much trouble translating this into those engines. If you do, well, fuck, I'm sorry. Anyways, now the vast majority of parameters you're going to be editing are going to be using the random between two constants, which you can access by clicking this little down arrow here. The first parameter we're going to adjust is going to be start lifetime. We're going to set to a minimum of 0.02 and a maximum of 1. After that, we'll do start speed of 5 and a maximum of 50. Head down to start size here, and we'll do a 0.005 minimum and a maximum of 0.02. Now if you want, you can add a color gradient. It honestly don't think really makes much of a difference, but you can click that little down arrow there and choose gradient, and then you can specify the colors you want. Next, we're going to do gravity modifier. We're going to set that with a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 1. Everything else, just leave the same. Now we're going to move on to the emission settings here, and we're going to go to count and set it to random between two constants, a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 50. This is basically going to say each time this particle system spawns, it's going to have a minimum of 10 sparks and a maximum of 50 and anything in between. Leave everything else alone and head on to shape, which we're going to set to a cone with 60 degrees of an angle and basically a radius of 0. You'll also set radius thickness to 1, make sure arc is set to 360, and the last thing is we're going to set from base to volume. We're going to set that to 0.25. Next, we're going to do limit velocity over lifetime. This tells the sparks to slow down after they've spawned over a period of time. It's a super important effect. Here's what it looks like without. Here's what it looks like when you activate it. Looks a lot better. Now here are the settings you need for it. It's pretty easy. You're just gonna set dampen to 0.7, set drag to 10, make sure multiply by size and multiply by velocity are both checked. And for the speed curve here, you're gonna wanna choose this one. Next, we're gonna move on to size over lifetime. This one's really easy. All you need to do is just choose this curve, and you're done. Now we're gonna activate noise, which kind of scours and slightly randomizes the direction of the particles as they're moving. Go easy on the strength and frequency though. If you pump those up too high, it's gonna make your sparks look like fireflies with a coke problem. After that, we're going to activate collision, which specifies that the sparks will collide with things in the world around them. You're going to want to set this pretty low because collision can be a little expensive to use. The last tab we're going to look at here is renderer, and we're going to want to make sure the particle is set to stretched billboard. What this means is that the spark particle will stretch and elongate in the direction it's moving. It's a really useful thing for this kind of effect. Here's what it looks like when you try using regular billboards. The sparks will lose that feeling of velocity. With the stretched billboard, they look a lot more convincing. Of course, it's important to make sure your shader is properly set up as well. Ideally, you're going to want to use an unlit particle shader with some emission added to it. If your game is utilizing HDR/bloom post-processing, it's going to add a little bit of a glow to those particles, which will make them look pretty sweet. It's looking pretty good, but I think it's missing one more thing, and it's a few sparks that travel a bit longer than the other ones. This is going to be pretty easy. All you have to do is just duplicate the sparks you made and adjust a few of the settings. Change the start lifetime to have a minimum of 1 second and a maximum of 2 seconds. Change the start speed to be 50 minimum and 100 maximum. And finally, we'll change the count from a minimum of 1 to a maximum of 5. Okay, let's hit the play button and see what we got. Okay, these look pretty good, but just like me, they're taking a little too long to die. I'm gonna pull the start lifetime values for both spark particles back just a bit. For regular sparks, we'll do 0.02 to 0.2, and sparks longer will have 0.5 to 1. Alright, let's see what we got. Yes! He's better! Much better! If you get that reference, I love you. Alright, that about does it for this tutorial. Before I go, I got one message.
Here's a message for all the ladies out there. I may just be a weird fat guy in a helmet, but I can make the sparks fly. Commander out.